Yes, you read that right. I'm unemployed. 7 months ago, I lost my job and I just wanted to share my story with you. So, this will be like an unfiltered real talk, just a little heart to heart. Today, I'll be sharing with you a little backstory of how everything happened, my initial thoughts and reactions and feelings towards it, the current situation and the struggles that I'm facing, what I'm doing to stay positive through it all, and the way forward. Since this happened, it's been quite an experience for me, and I've learned a few things along the way. Hey, I'm Mino, and I'm a Sri Lankan living here in Canada. I moved to Canada about 2 years ago, and in this channel, I share a bit about my life and what it's like navigating yourself in a new country and things like that. So, if that's your piece of cake, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button down below. But here's my story. So, mid last year, I found myself in a situation that a lot of us are familiar with in this time and age. I was laid off from my role. So, I work in HR, and yes, we are not immune to it, you guys. We do get laid off as well. So, my situation was a little bit different to you get on a call and you're notified that this is the last day you're working and you lose access to your accounts and things like that. And my situation was a little bit different to this. Rewind back to a year ago in Jan of 2022, we were notified that we will be laid off further down the line that same year. So I was working through a 7-month notice period, and this period included things like knowledge transfers and carrying on our day-to-day tasks. So for 7 months I was working towards an end date, and since then I've been unemployed, and that's about 7 months now. Now you might ask me, well, why didn't you get into your job search and all of that a little bit earlier if you had some time to prepare for it and all these months? Well, it's a little bit more complicated than that, and I will get into all that detail in a little bit. Well, initially when I heard this, I was shook. So how it panned out was that we got on a general call with a few other colleagues from across the globe, and we were notified that if we were on that call, we are going to be impacted, but we'd have more detailed conversation about how each employment will be affected with our immediate managers. So later that same day, I had a meeting scheduled with my manager where she explained to me the terms of my employment and a little bit of details about how this employment will be continuing for the notice period. So although my initial sentiments were of shock and fear and uncertainty, the more I learned about my terms of employment and things like that, I was getting a little bit more at ease. And the more details I learned, I realized that this is beyond my control and I need to take a step back and analyze this situation and use it to my advantage. So during this time, I had already booked a vacation and things like that. So I decided that it was for the best and I wanted to take a short break anyway. So I thought, okay, fine, I'll take that break, go on the vacation that I already booked, things like that. So I did go on the vacation. I saw my favorite band live in concert. I took some time off to reassess my situation, and also I spoke to a career coach to see what trajectory I have for my career and if there are things that I can do to upskill myself, things like that. So I used that time, the first month or so, to figure these things out. And it was good for me because I was able to focus more on myself before I actually got into full job search mode. So now don't get me wrong, I did apply for roles during that time as well where we were notified and all of that, but this leads on to my next topic of my current situation and the struggles that I'm facing. So obviously, apart from that first month where I didn't fully get into the job search, I eventually got into it. And if you know this already, that job search is no walk in the park. It's a struggle in itself, and if you're going to tell me otherwise, I just want to know, who are you? So the job search mission is a full-time job in itself, and it takes a lot of time, effort, and it strains you and it takes a toll on you basically. So the reason why I mentioned that I didn't get into it earlier, when we were initially notified that we are going to be put into a working notice period, is because Like I said, there were a few factors that went into that decision. Firstly, I was new here in Canada and it was my first job, and this job was in the field that I've been working back in Sri Lanka as well, and it was important for me to gain that expertise and experience in a Canadian culture, in a Canadian business. So I needed that. So, which is why I decided that I'm gonna stay throughout the working notice period. And the fact that it takes a lot of effort and time to actually apply for jobs, look for new roles, look for new opportunities. It takes a lot of time, and you're already tired from the day-to-day tasks that you're already carrying out in your job, and you have other things happening in life. So it's a little bit difficult to make a job search your full-time thing or put more effort to searching for a new role. So things like this already added on to the fact as to why I didn't start this full-time job search mission. So during these past 7 months, I've done it all. I've customized my CVs, I've customized my cover letters to fit the job descriptions, I've networked, spoken to recruiters, you name it, I've done it all. But when I say the response has been disheartening, it's an understatement. Despite having about 2 or 3 calls, basically phone screens, I've landed 0 interviews, and it gets you thinking, like, what am I doing wrong? What skills don't I have? Like, how do I show companies that I bring in the skills and expertise that I do? It's really tough out there, and I understand this, and I know there are a lot of people who are facing this challenge as well. I know the current economic situation is not ideal and the job market is crazy out there. There is crazy competition for each role that is posted, and no matter how self-aware you are of your skills, your past experiences, and the expertise that you bring in, it just feels like your applications are just getting lost in the void. And especially when the new year dawned, seeing everybody's LinkedIn posts about their promotions and starting new roles and things like that, it's great. It's great seeing all of that, but it gets you thinking, and it intensifies that feeling of being rejected and feeling like a failure, no matter how good you are. However, during all of this, I've learned some harsh realities, and there are some things that I've been struggling with, which I want to speak a bit more on as well. The uncertainty and anxiety and not knowing when my next opportunity is going to come my way adds to that layer of anxiety and stress, and I've never experienced this before, and I'd say privileged in that way. But now I feel like there's this uncertainty that seeps beyond the professional aspects, and it kind of seeps down into my personal life as well. There's that loss of identity and self-esteem that I'm struggling with at the moment. It's not just the weight of losing my job, and it's this profound loss of identity. It's like my self-esteem has taken a hit, and I find myself tying my self-worth to this role that I no longer occupy. This impact on my career trajectory and the skills that I possess. I feel like this abrupt ending to my employment has put my career goals and my trajectory on my career path on a setback or a hold. This career path that I meticulously planned for myself has been disrupted in some way, and I know I'm not the only one who's feeling this, and especially when you're navigating yourself in a new country, in an environment that is new to you, this does play a really big role. One of the other main struggles that I think a lot of us face in this time and age also, and added to something like a layoff, is mental health struggles. And yes, I've been facing that too over the past couple of months, because after all, this is a monumental challenge, and especially settling down in a new country in itself is quite a daunting challenge. And when you lose employment, it just adds on to it. And the constant reminder that you're just not good enough, or you don't know how long it'll take for you to land a new role, it just makes you think to yourself, am I good enough, or when will I ever land a role? Now, don't get me wrong, I do have a very good support system. I have a great family. I have good friends that help me through it. But at the end of the day, when you're just by yourself, you tend to think, what am I not doing right? Like, will I ever get this right? Will I ever find a role that fits my profile? Or employment just as it is any type of employment. So things like that can take a toll on your mental health, and it definitely has on mine, and it just intensifies that feeling of insecurity and constant self-doubt as well. And tied to that comes financial instability as well. I mean, I don't want to dwell on this too much, but it definitely plays a role in your day-to-day struggles when you're going through something like this. The financial factor and the loss of benefits definitely affects your lifestyle and the way you do things, and especially in a household that used to earn two incomes and now it just has come down to one income. It puts a lot of strain on that single income earner, and in my case it's my husband G, and he's taking care of all the bills and all the expenses in the household as well. So that definitely plays a part, and especially in today's economy. And if you live in Canada, you already know the cost of living is rising and everything is getting so expensive. So I feel like putting that strain on one person is just so difficult, and it's so unfair as well. And I do not want to be in that position. So it's just adding to that level of anxiety and stress and all of that. Another struggle that I've been having is knowing when I'm stressed and to take a step back, and knowing when I need to be go. Navigating this intricate dance between stress and action has become kind of an art actually. Recognizing when to push forward and when to take a step back is a balance that I'm striving to maintain at this point in time. If you find yourself in a similar situation, I invite you to share your experience, and I feel it's important that we support each other during these turbulent times. Now, I'll be honest, it's not always easy to stay positive when faced with rejection and uncertainty like this, especially for this long. But I did tell myself that it's crucial that I stay motivated and keep faith in the process. So, to overcome this and to push myself to be positive, I did a few different things, and I'm going to share them with you so that you could use them too if you're in a similar situation. Maintaining a routine has been a game changer for me. When you're job hunting, it's so easy to fall into a slump, and having a daily schedule with dedicated time for each task like job searching, networking, and other personal activities, it kind of kept me focused and productive throughout these past 5 months, and it also taught me how to be disciplined. And I know every passing day we are not getting ready to go to work. You don't have a particular schedule, but at least having something to look forward to during the day and having that routine keeps me grounded. So that has helped me during these challenging times. Celebrating small wins at this point has become my secret sauce. Amidst many rejections, for example, I've applied for over 500 positions at this point, with the bare minimum coming back in return. I've literally had only 2 or 3 phone screens with 0 interviews, but every time I get a phone screen, I still think that's a small win, and I celebrate it and I acknowledge it as a tiny victory. It doesn't have to be too complicated. I try to take the smallest things like refining my resume, receiving positive feedback on a cover letter, or picking up a new skill. Things like that has kept my spirits up. I've also used this time to invest in myself, and that has been empowering for me. I've spent my time learning new skills and also implementing these new skills and using them on my day-to-day activities. For me personally, I feel that YouTube has been one of those things that has kept me going, and I learn something new every day and I get to utilize it, and this has helped me get out of bed and given me something to look forward to as opposed to questioning my existence. I've taken an effort to stay mindful, and to do this I've done a lot of mindful art, and I try to incorporate positive affirmations, as cliche as it may sound, into my daily life. I remind myself of my strengths, my skills, my abilities, and all my past achievements. And this has helped me staying positive during this challenging time, knowing that there are small things to look forward to and be grateful for. Another main thing that has kept me going also is my support system, my family, my husband, my friends who've been so supportive during this journey. You know who you are if you're watching this. Even a simple call to check up on how I'm doing or how far I am in this job search, if I have any positive feedback, things like that. And even for me to be able to reach out to them and be like, hey, I could use a friend right now, hey, I just want to have a small chat with you, things like that, has been so helpful. And now I'm learning to lean towards my friends and family to get their insights, and their encouragement through this all has been a lifeline. And one last thing that I really wanted to mention is reminding myself that I am more than what my role used to be or what my past work life has been, and embracing me for me. I don't let my work experience or my skills or the lack of skills or anything define me. And this has been crucial in my journey towards positivity during these super challenging times. I will always look forward to new beginnings and the excitement of new beginnings. So in terms of way forward, I do not plan on changing anything much except to be resilient and keep going. I will keep continuing to network, work with my career coach, make opportunities for myself. Although change is difficult, change is inevitable, and I've learned to accept this and understand that setbacks are a part of life, which I will embrace and take forward with me while I open myself up to new and better possibilities and opportunities. And I wanted to share this quick little phrase that I abide by that might help you. Embrace change, cultivate resilience, and forge a new, challenging, and fulfilling path. Well, that's been my journey so far, and I know it's not been positive all along or negative all along. And I also know that it's super tough out there. The economy is not at its peak, or you feel like nothing is working in your favor. If you're in my situation, I just want you to remember that you're not alone. We are not alone. We've got each other. We've got to support each other and have each other's back. If you have any suggestions for me or tips or tricks that I could use in this job search journey, share them in the comments below. Let's support each other, share our experiences. And if you watched so far into this video, thank you so much. You're a real champ. I'll see you in my next one. Till then, stay safe, take care, and don't forget to stay positive.